New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hi, and welcome to the Cosmic Prayer. My name is Laura Topper, and I am here broadcasting from the UK through New Thought Media Network, this amazing focus ministry that's online here, sharing programs like this for you, programs that inspire you with guests and teachers and leaders from all around the world coming in here to New Thought Media Network to just prompt you to know the truth of who you are as love, to have a deeper understanding of who you truly are. And we do this here on the Cosmic Prayer, through talking about prayer, understanding it more, and playing with the concept of prayer every week when an inspirational guest comes onto the show to share their insights of how they pray, why they pray, and what prayer actually does for them in their lives. So if you're joining us right now, welcome in to New Thought Media Network and welcome to the Cosmic Prayer. Please leave your chat, your comment in the little caption box below, because it's great to know that you're here and connected with us all the way through the show. Today's guest, who is on her way right now. Oh, hello, Wayne. Hi. Great to be with you today. Today's guest is Reverend Voctoria Bomberry, and she's on her way to the show. Reverend Voctoria is the transformational minister at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living in California, I believe. And Reverend Voctoria also has her own really amazing focus ministry called Winged Spirit. And she's going to come on and talk about Winged Spirit and what it actually is and what the intention and the vision for Winged Spirit. And Reverend Voctoria is an amazing host. She shows up here on New Thought Media Network for the Science of Mind lecture series, which happens every Saturday. Reverend Voctoria shares her deep insights on Ernest Holmes and how we bring that spirituality, that knowing of spirituality, into our modern day, everyday living for practical use. So let's just, before Reverend Voctoria comes on, because I know that she will be here at any moment, but I just want to talk a little bit about peace, because it's something I know that's talked about so much. You know, we talk about living a life filled with peace and a life filled with harmony and how we can become more peaceful in our lives. And yet in the day to day, in the moment to moment, it's not always the go-to thing that we tend to go to, because our mind and the brain will want to take us to all of the other stuff that's going on. So peaceful living is an intentional act, really. It's an intention. It's about setting that intention to live in that place of peace, and then to see the experience and to think, hang on, I have a choice here of how I'm going to see this, how I'm going to view it, how I'm going to respond, how I'm going to react or not, and how I'm going to come back to this knowing of peace. And we use prayer. We can use prayer, or even sitting in silence or meditation, so easily to come into this place of peace in our hearts. And the reason that I'm called to just speak on this right now is because I know from experience how it's so easy, it can be easy to live from that place of reaction and seeing what's going on in our lives and believing that this is the only way it can be. And we get stuck in this kind of spiral of, well, it's suffering. It's suffering because then we put ourselves in a place where we think that there aren't any other choices. And there is a choice. The choice is that we can take a moment and breathe and reset ourselves, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of opinion out there. There's a lot on social media. There's a lot of, negative, if we like, or different ways of thinking about things, and we can easily get sucked in. I'm sure you know what that's like. As you start looking at something on social media, you can get drawn down a rabbit hole of something else until suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, here I am looking at this and I didn't intend this 20 minutes ago. So I'm inviting us to make prayer a direct decision and an intention, where we get our phone and set a timer on here, once an hour, even if it's for a minute or 30 seconds, to have a bell going off so that we can come back to that place of remembering who we are and setting a new intention, making a new choice. And that is practical spirituality, when we place it into our lives and use it, rather than just talking about it and doing it at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. And then there's how many hours in between when we're not putting these practices into practice. So I want to hear from you right now. If you're watching, then we have Reverend Victoria coming in. Martha. Hello, Martha. Haven't popped in for a while. It's great to see you. Thank you for your compliments on my hair. Just checking here. We have Wayne, Golden Bubble of Peace. I love it. We are in a golden bubble of peace. Welcome into the golden bubble of peace. And we're talking about this because it's something that if we're not reminded of, that we can come into this place of peace in our hearts regularly, that we can then live a life that feels as if it's uncomfortable. Reverend Victoria, welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so great to be with you.
Oh, yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine. I have no idea what happened. It was a major glitch.
Well, I tell you what, it was absolutely perfect, because I was able to talk a couple of minutes about peace and how we can get trapped in this kind of downward spiral of everything that's going on around us in our lives. And then we get lost and disconnected from this idea of living a peaceful life. And I was just saying that if we intentionally set a timer on our phone, we can actually come back to that place and use prayer as a practice for this.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So how are you, Reverend Victoria?
Well, I'm feeling good that I was able to figure this out. I thought I was doing it wrong, but I wasn't. Everything
No, you're doing it right.
So,
and where are you calling in from? Where are you based?
Today I am in Riverside, California today. Tonight I'll be
fantastic.
Up in the Bay Area.
So Reverend Victoria, you are the Minister of Transformation at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. And you also have an amazing focus ministry, which I would really love you to share and talk about, your focus ministry, which is called Winged Spirit. I'm really intrigued. We were trying to look, Diego and I were trying to find a website for it. We couldn't find a website, but there's your email address. So would you please explain and talk about Winged Spirit and your idea for it and what it is?
Okay. Well, we don't have a website yet.
Okay.
We have an address, but we do not have our website up yet. And we just met and we were talking about getting that website up and running. So in the new year, we should have a place you can go and visit us with information about Winged Spirit. And Winged Spirit is a focus ministry. And if people are unfamiliar with focus ministries, they are a type of ministry that is focused on something, right? You could have a focus ministry on cosmic prayer. You could have a focus ministry on, doing something virtual like the New Thought Media Network does. You could have a focus ministry on a number of different things. I work with another focus ministry that gives workshops and has groups. And you can have all kinds of things as a focus ministry. And this focus ministry in particular focuses on how we live in the world, our idea of being in the world and living a life that is actually sustaining the planet. So all of our spiritual principles are in the forefront of what we create. And we're very project centered. We're a transnational ministry, and that means that we'll be located in different places throughout the Americas. And we do have a location in Bolivia right now, and we have me here, and our board members are up and down the West Coast. So we're gearing up to have our first program in the first few months of the year. And it will be a ministry that offers travel to study and to actually work on projects that support the environment. So that's what it's about. And ask me questions, because this is helpful for me to be able to explain it quickly and easily.
Well, we are the Cosmic Prayer, so I have a few questions. One of them would be, how does prayer, what is the relationship between your ministry and prayer? Are you teaching and educating people? When you say spiritual practice, is prayer a part of that?
Oh, prayer is always a part of everything.
Yeah.
So prayer, of course, is our go-to in Centers for Spiritual Living, because that the 5-step process that we do have, incorporates everything. It is deeply, going into a meditative state, entering the silence, it's contemplation, and it is prayer. So we have this kind of, I guess it's kind of a thing that it's an all-in-one technology, right? Because we're doing everything. We're and that's how we've identified those steps of prayer. And I believe that all prayer works, right? I believe that, but I think that we have a unique way of approaching prayer in Centers for Spiritual Living. And I like that it has those elements in it that take us deep into that place of pure spirit.
I love what you've just said, an all-in-one technology, because so often I hear I'll be listening to teachers that may not be associated directly with Centers for Spiritual Living, and yet they're amazing spiritual leaders and teachers, and they will give their idea of a practice, and it will kind of be like 2/3 of the idea of a spiritual mind treatment, but it's like it's not quite there. Do you know what I mean? So I love it that you've said that all-in-one technology, because it's every part of that treatment is so powerful, and together it's like, wow. And so for Winged Spirit, am I right in kind of feeling this here, that this is your ministry is really about how we can live sustainably on this planet, and how we can bring forward this teaching and the practices to really honor Mother Earth and everybody, on each of us, every sentient being on Mother Earth, on this planet right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It's like a prayer for the earth.
Yes, it is, and also to build relationships. Sometimes we are kind of, very centered in our centers, right?
Yeah.
And, this is a opportunity for building relationships. And I'm always, I love this, our network here, because we do get to reach out beyond the walls of our center and get to know people. It's virtually, of course, but we are building those relationships. And the relationship, to me, is the most important thing that we can do at this point in our spiritual evolution, because we've gone through this whole we've gone through a process, right, as human evolution has unfolded. And a part of that process for us has been to understand ourselves as individuals, right?
Yeah.
And I think that we kind of went into a place that went too far. Almost to the point where, in the West at least, that we have kind of what I would call a cult of individuality, right? Rather than really looking at how we are all connected. And of course, that's what we say in Centers for Spiritual Living, is that we have a focus on oneness and the necessity of really feeling that oneness with one another. And what better way to do that than praying together, right? What better way to understand that connection than praying together?
And what you're saying, I believe, is so true. We can get so me-centric as well. This is about me, and I'm healing myself, and I'm going through this process, and it's taking me 25 years, and I'll let you know when I'm finished. And yet, in the meanwhile, there's always this amazing opportunity to expand that, away from ourselves individually, and say, well, hang on a minute. What about my neighbor? What about that person that, maybe is living on the streets rough? What about that, that woman that's experiencing abuse in relationships? What about the way we treat our planet? And then it becomes, okay, it's still about me, but it's me through you, and we're one.
Exactly. And I believe that our philosophy is definitely a healing philosophy. And I believe that we do heal through those relationships with one another.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible for healing to take place outside of that. And if you come to a center, or you come to a place where there are people gathered in a focus ministry, or in a study group, or in a gathering of practitioners or ministers, that's where the true healing takes place. And we need one another. We really do. And of course, as we broaden, and we're seeing this more and more, as we broaden our understanding of oneness, we extend that to the natural world, right? We extend that to our animal companions. We extend that to the plant life around us. We extend that to every part of Earth. So we do that, and we're on this planet. And yeah, we're on this planet, so this is where we are here to do our work here, right? And and I believe as we do that, it extends throughout all of creation. So we have to start somewhere, and I'm starting on Earth.
I love that. We have to start somewhere, and I want to ask you your personal, well, of course, all of this is personal, but your understanding, when you hear of our living faith in oneness. Thank you for being here. We're here with Rev Voctoria Bomberry, and we're really going to delve into this conversation about prayer and Earth, our planet, our home. And when you, Reverend Voctoria, when you hear of large companies and industries that are really kind of not honoring this planet and putting out toxic waste and continuing to do it, and not treating this planet as if it is this amazing blessing, how do you feel about that? And how what we're doing is so powerful individually and collectively in small pockets, but they're not small pockets. We're setting a big intention, but how does that rile you? How do you?
Well, and I'm going to take it back to, we are all a part of it, right? All of us who participate, we are a part of that. So it does start with each individual. We have to wake up to what kind of world do we want to live in? And what are we going to support? Are we going to support a way of life that is wasteful and dislodges people and life from certain areas and creates this destruction? So we have to be aware of that. How are we going to live our own lives in a way that doesn't feed that kind of development? And we're having a huge conversation about that. We've been having it for many, many years, right? But, I think it's coming to the forefront again. And I think it's easy to point fingers and say, well, you're evil and bad, without looking at how we are participating in it and supporting it. So, I'm thrilled. I have a grandson who does a vintage business. And, a part of that is, really not just recycling things, right? Nice things, right? That can be used and won't end up in a landfill. And he's doing very well with his business.
Oh.
So he, and he's able to study, go to university and do his business, and that supports him. So I think things like that, and having that consciousness of these are beautiful things that have more use in them, and let's just recirculate them, right? So he does that, and and I applaud young people for having these kinds of ideas and these kinds of projects that they're involved in, and I also think that as we we're in a really incredible time of transition. We're in a few years back, well, so let's say 40 years back, we took one fork in the road.
Yes.
Instead of another, right?
Yes.
And we've put all of our eggs in one basket, so to speak, in fossil fuels, right?
Yeah.
And now we're starting to branch out more into other renewable energies. But I often think, well, what is it that's absolutely necessary for my life? Well, I believe in communications. I really do. And I think
Yes.
this technology is a tremendous technology that reminds us of what is possible, when we work together and we cooperate. And it is like a prayer, right? Communication is that prayer. When we're listening to spirit and communicating, we're communicating, speaking, and we are opening ourselves for that two-way communication through prayer. So communication, I think everything that we have in this world, has its spiritual component to it. And I think that communication is spiritual, and how we use these technologies, right? Okay, I'm saying I'm going to keep communication, right?
Yes.
I'm going to keep basic things like housing, right? Shelter for everyone. I think there was a time when every human being was sheltered, who had some kind of shelter. We
Right.
can't say that now.
No, we can't.
And that is, that is heartbreaking and just so difficult to see this devolution that we are a part of right now as well. So we're doing things from, this uplift. We want to bring everyone into this awareness of who we are.
And that is happening, isn't it? I mean, it's just like you've mentioned your grandson who, he may not be at a center for spiritual living or even in a devoted daily spiritual practice, and yet his life is his spiritual practice, his intention of what he's doing with his vintage business, because he knows that there's on some level that there is a catastrophe happening with the way that we treat things, how we don't dispose properly of things, how we use too much of things, how plastic is everywhere. And so it takes each of us, really, you're so right, to look in our hearts and checklist our lives.
Yeah, and do that in our centers too. What do we do in the centers when we have fellowship and all of those? And those are just simple things, right? They're not they're simple things that we do in our daily life.
Simple and powerful.
And powerful, very
simple and powerful, because coming together like that, we can hear other people's ideas and be sparked, can't we?
Yeah,
for our own lives.
I think we've taken years to come to that awareness, right?
Yeah.
And I think that as we move forward, that I know that well, let's talk about Marie Kondo, right?
Oh, how funny. I was just looking at her website. It's been on my browser all day.
Well, someone like Marie Kondo, and things, right? Things in our life, right?
Yeah.
There was a time when we made everything, right?
Yeah.
Everything that we used, we made ourselves.
Yes.
And they, through our hands, right? We created all these incredibly beautiful things. And some of those things, that I have in my home that are handmade, by relatives, people that I love. There's a power in that. So,
and that was a tradition of that way of being and that way of providing for ourselves ancestrally, where if something was needed, it would be made, and there would be pleasure in making that, and then teaching that process to the next generation, passing it on.
Yes, passing it on. So, I think Marie Kondo has kind of opened a discussion about things, right?
Yes.
What do we really need in our homes? What really brings us joy?
Does it spark joy?
Yeah, she says, does it spark joy? Hold something And does it spark joy? If it sparks joy, then that's something that you keep, and the other stuff you pass along. So just coming to a realization that there is something to having a life that we create joyfully. And, when we get into a discussion about things that we are, the destruction of the earth and everything, sometimes that can feel like, oh, we have to give up everything, right? And that's not what we're talking about at all. We're talking about how do we I'll use this word, re-enchant the world, right?
Beautiful word.
Because if we have all of these belongings around us and we don't use them,
no,
we don't honor them, then what is the use of them, right? And if we're only told, well, you have to buy in order to support the economy, well, no, not really. That's a certain way of looking at it. But, what we want to do is bring in the spiritual element of it. And, how are we fair to people who are creating our things, the workers? How are we fair to the people who are picking the crops? How are we, just basic things that are necessities of life.
And we're fed with this idea that if we have a lot of things, even if we don't particularly need them or want them, that we are, that we're successful and doing well, and on some level, we've got our lives worked out.
Yeah, they become kind of just little
a symbolism of success.
A symbolism of success and status, right? And it doesn't even matter what it might be, it's just whatever. And whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm talking around this in a lot of ways, but basically what I'm saying is that we are, this is an opportunity for us to look at how we are in the world and how we bring our understanding of spirit into every part of our life.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. We're going to have a deeper conversation about this particular point after we've had a short break here on the Cosmic Prayer. For anybody that's watching right now, it's so great that you're here with Reverend Voctoria Bomberry. We're talking about this planet and the prayer that we have within our hearts for our lives as a holistic adventure, the holistic adventure that we're on, the experience of living. Thank you, Reverend Voctoria, for being here. We're going to come back in a moment after our break. Thank you, Diego. Our beautiful...
Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience? Or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
Welcome back to the Cosmic Prayer. My name is Laura, and thank you, Diego, our amazing show producer who keeps this show completely intact and running smoothly and professionally. Thank you so much, Diego. Reverend Victoria Bomberry, welcome back to the Cosmic Prayer. Thank you for being here and sharing today. We're having an amazing conversation about prayer and how we pray and how we use prayer to know that we are embodied and at one with our planet, with this planet that we're living on. And Rev Victoria, you are the Minister of Transformation at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. I love that you are that, the Minister of Transformation. Could you please talk on that a little bit? Why that? Why are you known as that, and what does that mean for you?
Well, I think that years ago, one of my friends said, "Victoria, you talk about transformation a lot," and I never noticed that. I mean, sometimes you don't notice how you are, right? So she said that to me, and that stuck with me for years, because it really is my mission in life is, transformation, and transforming the way that we approach things, transforming ourselves, transforming just everything, right? Because I think I was, as a young person, I was kind of looking around and seeing things that I thought were unfair or ugly, or just different things, right? That kind of bothered me, and I thought, well, how do we change that? And is change sufficient, right? Just changing something. And I kind of thought, well, no, I think we have to do something that's much more than that there is a true transformation that takes place. And, that doesn't mean, setting the table in a different way. It means that we are transforming the whole process, right? So transforming processes and transforming systems kind of became my thing. How do we do that? How do we alter something to such a degree that it is truly transformational? So, that's my philosophy, right? And and I do believe that we do have to do the inner work of prayer, the inner work of entering the silence and contemplation and meditation. All of those spiritual practices are such an important part of that. I think that we can talk about change, right? Mm-hmm. And we can do change, but true transformation takes the whole being. And I think some of the ways that people have done change in the past has ignored that essential element of life, right? The spirit.
Yeah.
So that's my idea of transformation.
It's very powerful, and it really what I really love about what you're saying is that you took time to analyze and to feel that in your heart. You know, what does change mean? Yes, we can change this, change that, and yet to transform it, we need to go deeper. We're being called to go deeper and to have a deeper conversation with ourselves and a deeper connection with a relationship with the divine.
Yes.
And that's where here we are. Diego, sorry, I'm just going to read this before it just goes. As Rev Skip says, transformation is a choice. Yeah.
Well, yes, we make choices all the time, right? And we can make a choice to be a part of a transformational process that supports everyone, right? I mean, we've seen destructive transformation.
Oh,
we've
yes.
seen that. But, you know, we're speaking of a transformation that supports all of life.
So your vision, I really would love to hear your vision, you know, to know your vision, you know, tying in this knowing of transformation and winged spirit, you know, the inclusion of each of us, all of us as one, including the planet. What's your vision, your highest vision of that? How does that look and feel?
Oh, well, it's everything, but I think that our global vision really is, you know, I can get behind every point of our global vision, the CSL global vision. And I think that it is transformational. So I completely support that. And, you know, I believe that what I've been engaged in, my life work has been in those elements, right? You know,
Yeah.
I've spent time as an academic, I've spent time as a journalist, I've spent time as a community organizer, I've spent time in health, I've spent time in a lot of different things in, you know, over probably, let's just say 5 decades of that kind of work as an adult, right? As an adult. And, you know, before that, you know, I was always very interested in how we build relationships, how we make sure that people are included, how we make sure that we're living lives that we can be proud of, that we are living to our highest potential as human beings, because, you know, we're like Spider-Man, you know, with great with great gifts comes great responsibility, right? I mean, really, you know, really. And we have these enormous gifts as human beings. We have, you know, just the opportunity to be tremendous, right? So, in the most positive way possible, right?
Oh yeah, of course. And this idea that, you know, with your focus ministry, which I mean, it's not really a focus ministry. It's it doesn't sound. I mean, it's focused and it's mega. It's like this idea that there are no walls. You know, winged spirit. It's like we're free. There's this sense of freedom in the name there. And with communication and online, that there are no barriers and boundaries and walls here. We can meet like this, like we are now. You know, I'm here in the UK and you're in California, and we can meet and share ideas and inspire each other and ourselves and the viewers to live this life of conscious living, transforming from within.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And do you
exactly, you know, and knowing that, you know, you've invited me into your home.
Yeah, and you and me into yours. Yes. With that beautiful gong behind you. I love it.
And what a wonderful thing, right? To have that opportunity. And
Oh,
Yes,
I love that you've said that. That's so sacred that you've said that, because that's also a very powerful symbolism, coming into somebody's home. It's like, welcome here. And that's what we're all doing for each other now with Zoom and with all of this technology. We're actually entering people's homes.
yes,
Yeah, it's
we are.
beautiful.
And some of us are, partially dressed, right?
I'm fully dressed.
Well, I am too, but I have
Good.
my bottoms are workout.
Okay, I've got my slippers on.
So we are, there is that kind of letting down of some of those things that, the facade, right? Those
Family
things
show.
we
Yes.
have,
Relaxing into our authentic selves.
Exactly, and I think that as we share more, right, and we are vulnerable with one another, and we don't put up
Yes.
the walls, those barriers between us, then yeah, we have the opportunity to really move forward in a very powerful way. So when we pray, right, we're letting down any kind of barrier between us and spirit, right?
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
Yes.
Because sometimes we think, we go about our day, right? And we forget.
Oh,
We
yeah.
forget. And when we pray, we let down those barriers. We forget to listen to spirit, right? As when we run into a problem and we get angry
Yes.
and act out in whatever way we might act out. And so we forget that spiritual element. And if we can get to that place of prayer without ceasing, that's the true transformation in just our everyday interactions. Our everyday interactions. The only kind of emotion that might remain is just as warning signals, right?
Right. Indicators.
Yeah, indicators of well, there might be danger there, so
Yeah.
be careful, right? Oh, yeah, there's something there that I have to pay attention to, right? We would get to that point where our senses are actually supporting us in the most powerful way possible.
So what I hear you saying is that when we look at our relationships, or when we view the relationships that we have with those around us that are really directly in our lives, and then those that aren't, that if we're viewing those people, or the people that affect us in some way, that we can use that as a way for our own personal growth. We can use those moments where we want to kind of get angry or not feel good, and of course they're valid feelings, and yet we can identify that within ourselves and say, right, okay, what really is going on here, without blaming all the time, because
Yeah,
we come from a blame culture, don't we? If it's gone wrong, it's someone else's fault.
Yeah, and the truth of it, yes, sometimes we are victims of something, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's true. But at the same time, there's a lot of times when there's those elements where we are contributing to the situation.
Yeah.
So we have to check ourselves, right, and see where we are and what we're putting out, and just walk in in true spirit, right? Just walk in that, and that's what I would want to do, in my life. And I've noticed that, when I'm able to step back in difficult situations, and I mean stepping back in terms of not reacting from the stance of ego, that, and, ego as the protector, standing up and, just keeping you safe, but in an overblown fashion. When I can step back from that and try to really connect with someone, that it changes. It may not change the dynamic in the moment, but over time it will change. And oftentimes it changes the dynamic in the moment.
Yes.
And especially for me, it may not do anything for that person immediately, but, I've noticed that does make a huge difference.
And that's transformation. That's the transformation you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have to be incredibly patient in this, right? And we have to stay the course, because there's a lot of things that we just want to throw up our hands and say, oh my goodness, this is never going to change. And you're talking about transformation, are you out of your mind? Well, yes.
Yes.
I am
Perfect. I'm going to laugh for about 20 minutes now. Yes, we are out of our minds. We're into the one mind. Oh, Reverend Victoria, it's just so great that you're here, and time is just whizzing by. We have a few minutes left on the Cosmic Prayer today, and I just want to thank you for being here, being so present and so willing to share from your heart, and to let us all know of the amazing work that you are doing in the world, on the planet, to inspire people to make those decisions for themselves and be responsible. We take that inner self-responsibility to show up piece by piece, and it's that decision that we're making to be the transformation for our lives. And you're an amazing example of this, and I'm really excited for when your website comes on live. Will you come back onto the Cosmic Prayer to show everyone your website and talk more about your work?
Yes, I would love to do that.
Yeah, that would be
also,
great.
I would just like to, if I can,
please do,
make everyone aware of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee of CSL. And I am on that committee, and inclusion at csl.org. And, we are talking about transformation of our organization too, to truly represent and include everyone. And, we have a webinar once a month, and we'll be having a webinar in December that will be celebrating different ways that we do holidays, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be an inclusion of as many folks as we possibly can. So please join us for that webinar.
Amazing.
And we are in the business of transformation in CSL too. So
yeah, because we're we're one, and so it's not stopping anywhere and starting somewhere else. CSL is a part of this one amazing expression. And so how great that we're all transforming together.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, Reverend Victoria, thank you for sharing. And for anybody that would like to reach out to Reverend Victoria, yes, you can find her at Winged Spirit. Her email address is here. Diego, if you wouldn't, thank you, Diego, wingedspirit@gmail.com. And then the inclusion, CSL.org. There we are. You can reach out to Reverend Victoria there. And also Riverside CSL, that's where Reverend Victoria is ministering from as the transformational minister there. So you are in a lot of places, and you're here on New Thought Media Network sharing as well with the Science of Mind lecture series and other exciting things, which I'm sure will be coming forwards for 2022. So thank you, Reverend Victoria.
Oh, thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure. When I met you, it was just like,
yeah. And as we always on the Cosmic Prayer, we end with a prayer. We kind of come out of here with a prayer. And I'd love that to be the same today, that we share a prayer here together for viewers, whether watching now or later on, to know the truth in a spiritual mind treatment. So it would be great to share that with you right now.
Of course.
Yes. So shall I begin?
Yes.
I'd like to just start. Okay, that would be so cool. So let's just sit comfortably. And if you're joining us here, wherever you are on this amazing planet, let's take a breath together. And open our hearts in this moment. Because I know that in this moment, there is this one divine presence, this one thing that is expressing itself in, as, and through everything. This omnipresence that is the idea of itself, of this experience of life, that is showing up in all ways, in infinite ways. From the magnitude of the multiverses and the cosmos and the Milky Ways and the planets and the stars and the sun and the moon and then our planet and everything on this planet, down to the tiniest microscopicest detail. I know that this is God, source, spirit, the thing itself, this essence, this life. And I know that I am one with this. I feel this within me. I feel this oneness, this incredible knowing within me that there is no separation anywhere, and that as I am one with this, of course, Reverend Victoria is one with this, Diego is one with this, New Thought Media Network, each of you listening or watching, we are one, expressing ourselves uniquely here as this presence runs through us and shines through us. And I'm going to pass this prayer over to Reverend Victoria now.
And I affirm everything that's been spoken. And knowing that we are in the presence of the divine, right here and right now, in every moment of our lives. That presence is in and through us. It walks with us through everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we are a part of. And I am knowing that this magnificence paves the way for all of our endeavors, that we set the intention to truly live the life of spirit. And as we do this, as we listen to spirit, as we act on those directions, and as we come together in true harmony and peace, that there is nothing that we can't do. We are involved in this amazing life here on this beautiful Mother Earth, that we know that every part of this earth is alive, that we care for it as if it is that living being that gives life to all of us. We come from the earth, we walk on the earth, we return to the earth. And all of the generations that come after us are born into the same beauty and cycle of love and harmony. And as we harmonize, as we live our lives, we know that only good is present, and that love paves the way for all of this. And as we build on love, as we recognize the divinity in each and every one of us, that only love remains, that anything that we do is done out of that beauty, out of that love, and that is the perfection of life. And I allow all of this to be, blessing each and every one of us as we go about our day to day, knowing that we are truly grateful for every breath, every experience that is this life. It is a gift given to us. And anchoring this in consciousness, we say together, and so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you for listening to Cosmic Prayer, your weekly shift with Laura Topper on the New Thought Media Network. If you've enjoyed this programming, please tell a friend and join us again next week for Cosmic Prayer, your weekly shift with Laura Topper.